investing some $285 million in small nuclear reactor research as the government seeks alternatives to fossil fuels amid fears over rising gas prices. The investment comes amid hope the smaller modular reactors could be in
There
use
we are.
by the 2030s.
Hello.
On Wall Street, Dow futures are off 23
It's
points.
Ron and
On
Santa
Wall Street,
Claus.
visit townhall.com.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Hey. Hey, fella. What you doing here on a Saturday night?
Check me out on Battle for Freedom, where I'm triggering change. One heart.
I asked you a question.
Oh, what?
No, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
You know what?
All
You
right.
just do you.
Out of default,
Which
stop
you do
any
mostly
wage
anyway.
garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop
I say
seeking
you do mostly anyway.
Okay.
student loan payments down to as little as $25
The mariachi
a
band
month.
is a little
Pay for
slow.
what you can afford to pay.
And hello, everyone.
$709-4395,
And, Robert, and Paul.
800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Gee, are gas prices up?
800-709-4395.
Hey, are gas prices up?
Like you slept on a cloud. Get yourself the very best in bedding supplies today. You deserve it. Go to mypillow.com and don't forget our very special promo code Mojo50 for incredible savings.
Patriotically correct.
There's bad people in every profession, right? There's bad Domino's delivery drivers, bad auto
Are there?
mechanic, bad this or that. We're not going to compare law enforcement to any other profession any longer on this program because here's why. You cannot compare the occupation of a police officer to the occupation of anywhere else where there are bad apples. There's no way that there's
Are you
this
sure about that?
racism within that field. There is no profession in the world that goes through more excruciating background checks, psychological evaluations, polygraph examinations. Backgrounders go to
Polygraph.
every city that they've ever lived in, every job that they've ever worked.
Oh, it's
Police
Tata's
officers,
Tuesday.
first-grade teachers, neighbors,
Yes,
associates,
yes, it is.
hospital associates. There are not a whole lot of bad apples in the law enforcement community. They're just able to slide through that. And through these interview process, you know, the dissection of their social media accounts and their Twitter.
You still got that link to the chat if you want it.
And to insult them
Oh, yeah.
to other
Yeah.
professions, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not tolerated on this show anymore.
Weekdays, 5
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern on Mojo 50.
Mojo 50. The question isn't who's going to let us. The question is who's going to stop us. Adjust your mojo now.
Thank you.
Thank you. The mothership has landed. Brad Staggs. The mighty Mojo 50.
Every day we get up and every day it gets weirder. And by weirder, I mean suckier.
Suckier.
And not in a good way. It's time for 2 hours that you'll never get back because once you listen to all of the insanity in the world, you may want to call for the check and move to an island. It's that insane out there. It's and I want to thank not only Brandy but Michael V for sending some information in. When you tell it, I don't know where to start. I truly don't. The president and when you hear what the president said, I thought, and Ron, you've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was edited. I thought they took like a bunch of his some fumfering and stumbling and edited it together, and they didn't. This is like 30 seconds of
Stammering.
You can't make fun of old people like that.
No, it's not so much making fun of him as just being incredulous that this person inhabits the White House. The Washington State, you thought they didn't have enough problems as it was? Their psychologist with the Washington State Patrol. When you hear what they made him do, and I can't believe, and this may be the craziest thing of all, Johnny Depp said something I think we can all agree on. He said, cancel culture as a movement is so far out of hand now that I can promise you that no one is safe. Not one of you. No one out that door. No one is safe as long as someone is willing to say one sentence. Is that not the truth?
It is the truth.
But they
But
don't
then
get
again,
it.
But yeah, but then again, cancel culture only matters if you allow it to matter. I mean, I agree that sometimes it can cost you your job, whatever the case may be.
Well,
but
that's a big thing to have matter, I would say.
I agree with you. But if you don't give a flip about it, I mean, ultimately, people who are in a position that if they're quote canceled, they lose their livelihood. That's an issue. Yes, I
Yes.
get that.
Yes. But otherwise, no, it's like, I mean, what we have nothing to lose.
We have nothing to lose.
We're so pathetic. We have nothing. So, you can shoot arrows at
Most
us.
people can kiss our ass.
Yes.
Most people.
Exactly. Yes. There is a select few that will.
If you're hearing us right now, we're not talking about it.
Right. Except for that one guy. All right. So the, gosh, you know what? Let's start with infrastructure because, infrastructure.
If we must.
Infrastructure. It's probably going to go to the president's desk today. And so we'll be another $1.2 trillion in the hole. I'll get it.
Yep.
And at this point, who cares? I mean, we don't have the money anyway, right? So why do we even care? What does it matter? We're already 28 trillion and change, and that's not including the unfunded liability. So what's another $1.2 trillion amongst friends? Because we have important stuff to fix, like racist bridges and racist interstates.
What is going on there?
Just see, what they're trying to get at is that these, and I think we told the story once of a neighborhood in Louisiana where at one time there was a town, and they put the interstate right through the center of this neighborhood, and it divided the neighborhood in two. Is it racist? I don't know that it's racist, but it certainly was inconvenient for that town. It split their town in two. But that, again, is the federal government. They don't do anything well. And looking to the federal government to fix whatever problem you believe that they actually caused is folly. And here is the transportation secretary, because he's so qualified. And by qualified, I mean, he's gay. That's pretty much the only reason that he got the gig.
Booty gig.
And here he is discussing the infrastructure and, how important and stuff.
Infrastructure is so elemental to our society that when it's not there to serve us in the right way, all of us are impacted. But when it's strong, every community, large and small, rural and urban, privileged and marginalized.
Whoa, privileged and marginalized. Did you notice that? Now that's the new term. You're either privileged or you're marginalized. There you go. This is the,
Is that the same as lower class and middle class?
Apparently so. This is the
Or upper
party of
class?
unity. The party of unity. And now they've divided us into yet another class, which is privileged and marginalized. And if you'll notice, and we said this when he was discussing the crisis, the logistics crisis that we're having in this country, when he was on, I think it was CNN. And remember, he said a whole bunch of words and said nothing. I'll give him this. He's really good at just simple doublespeak, being vague and saying it with conviction.
Right.
Every community feels the benefits. When combined with the Build Back Better Act, the bipartisan infrastructure deal, which collectively I like to think of them as the big deal, an answer to the
Clever.
New Deal or the Square Deal before
Right.
that.
That's how they think of
They're
us.
going to create
Yes,
a generation of good union jobs. They're going to make historic investments in equity and in the fight against climate change.
Right.
They're going to make sure that America can compete and win in the decades ahead.
Right. We're going to compete and win in the decades ahead. I don't know what we're going to compete with and win in the decades ahead. What do you think the odds that we are going to be a major supplier of wind turbines to the world? What are the odds that we've just jacked up the minimum wage. What is it? Is it officially $15 an hour? Have they done that? I
don't think
honestly,
so.
I haven't even tracked that.
Let me check. I don't
Because
think so.
they're at Starbucks. There was a story that Starbucks, I don't know where it was, but had raised their starting pay to like $20 an hour. And when the Chinese are paying their,
It's still $7.25.
okay, so everybody's just trying to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So when we're paying people, $13 an hour, which is pretty much any help wanted sign out there. So what it says, how are we going to compete with China, who can, pay their employees pennies on the dollar because They don't care. That's and remember the whole Trump putting the trade embargo on China. Remember that? Remember that how it was going to be harded. What I wonder what that would have done, because that would have prevented more goods from coming in from China, which would have meant they'd have to be made here, which would have forced us to find a way to make these things. The free market, in other words, would have figured it out. But instead, government has stepped in and effed it completely up. Here are more words from Pete Buttigieg.
This is the largest investment in roads, bridges, and highways since the creation of the interstate highway system, including the largest investment in our bridges ever, so that we can avoid devastating closures and disruptive collapses like we've seen, including what we saw in Tennessee and Florida and far too many other places.
And, here's the other thing. How many decades now have they had the opportunity? How many decades has the federal government had the money that we've sent to them through our taxes to fix these problems? And they chose to spend them on, welfare, food stamps, giving money to the illegals crossing at the border, you name it. And it's on both sides. Democrat, Republican, I don't care. They've had decades to fix these potential problems, and suddenly, we gotta spend it now. Got to spend it now. It's kind of like the shovel-ready jobs with Obama.
Yeah. It's also the largest investment in public transit ever, with funding that will expand service to communities of all sizes, including improvements for seniors and for people with disabilities.
Now, quite frankly, do seniors need to be allowed out of the house? I mean, let's be real. Because
in most cases, no.
Right. Seniors should just stay home. The odds of breaking a hip or something like that, tripping over some small object on the ground, they should just not be allowed to leave their house. It's just common sense.
It's going to replace thousands of outdated buses with clean zero-emission vehicles and aging rail cars with state-of-the-art new ones.
Right, aging rail cars. That would be what? Amtrak, which still, do they make any money? No. Except for Joe Biden, who, remember, what did he, sorry, I got distracted there by, it's Tata's Tuesday.
Tata's Tuesday, yeah.
So we're spending money, spending money in places we don't need to spend it. But then I'm preaching to the choir. This is just, and how are they going to pay for all this, you ask? Well, isn't it strange that they're going to start digging into your crypto? See, this was a story came out in CNBC in July. They're going to start trying to treat Bitcoin and all the cryptos as property, so that when you sell, technically you should be paying a percentage of tax on it. Here's the problem: in 2019, that was the first year they even put anything on the tax forms regarding crypto, and it was on a schedule. Yeah, it was a Schedule 1. It said, at any time during 2019, did you receive, sell, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency? The problem is, who fills out a Schedule 1? I mean, you may if you are, big time, but a lot of people just don't fill out a Schedule 1, and there are a lot of people who own crypto. So
hell no, more people fill out just the 1040, and that's it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because
and some don't even do that.
Experts say the question was vague, and crucially, not everybody files that Schedule 1. So now, in 2020, they move the virtual currency question to the 1040 form, and guess where they put it? Right under your name. So yeah. So now they're saying, well, you can't miss it now. It's right there when you fill out your name and your address. There it is. And the problem is, how do you calculate? How do you calculate when you have realized a gain from the crypto? I mean, obviously, if you bought a Bitcoin and then you turn around and a week later you sell the Bitcoin and it was worth $1,000 more, all right. But what if you bought a car with Bitcoin? Do you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what do they call these taxable events? So there's a lot of murkiness. And by murkiness, I mean the IRS will nail you for just about anything they can. And the problem is there aren't. It's kind of like the legalization of pot. There's not a standard for being intoxicated out there on the road if you're driving, and there's not a standard for crypto as to when the taxable event occurs. So if you bought, let's say, a Bitcoin for I don't know $5,000, and then in a week it's only worth $4,000, but you use that Bitcoin to buy the aforementioned car. Now, do you get to write off the $1,000 that you lost as a loss? Because you can do that with gambling winnings. If you win 10 grand at the casino, you can show receipts for I spent 15 grand to make the 10 grand. So do you get to write off the loss? Remember when the president said, "Hey, IRS is not going after you if you make under 400 grand. Not coming after you. They're going after the big fish, the big kahunas, the people with all the money."
I remember him saying that.
Yeah, that's he lied. He lied. And ironically, I put out a Twitter poll just this morning asking who has told more lies as POTUS. Is it, oh shoot, did I even, oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I thought for a second it didn't give the two choices, but it did. The two options were Trump or Biden, and so far, 93% say it's been Joe Biden. And I would love for people, remember, was it 10,000 lies Trump told? That they said that
where they tracked
told?
it on the website?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What website? Was it on a website? I swear to you, I did not.
No, yeah, it was. Let's see.
Because the lies that they say he told, if they use the same standard by Joe Biden, Joe Biden just misspeaks. It's funny how that happens. Joe Biden misspeaks, but Trump lied. And strangely, when Trump, let's just say he did, when Trump lied, no one died. When Joe Biden lied, people died. The whole Afghanistan thing. Yeah, I bet they're not there.
NRDC. No, that's not it.
Yeah. So it's
NRDC.com. I'm sorry, NRDC.org/Trump-lies. That's one of them, but there was a website before that was literally Trump just listed them.
Right. And if you looked at the ones that I ever saw were questionable as lies.
Yes.
At best. I'll tell you who does not tell a lie. I can't think of anybody, but I don't think Mike Lindell has. He may have, I just don't know. But I do know this: he has made one heck of a pillow. When you go to mypillow.com and you purchase a MyPillow, you will, no lie, you'll get a pillow. No lie. You'll get a pillow that feels good under your head or whatever body part you prefer to put it under. I know Ron sleeps with one between his knees.
I absolutely sleep with one between my knees.
Keeps him from getting pregnant.
Yeah, I have to sleep with a body pillow.
If you hold a pillow between your knees, it is very hard to get pregnant. Although there was that Cosmo article that did kind of explain, how that could happen. But I digress. Use the promo code Mojo50 at mypillow.com and take your pick of the MyPillow pillows or the lowest price ever. Ho, what's this? $29.98 for a standard. And I believe that is before the discount, is it not? My goodness. So you can get a queen for $34.98 with a promo code. That is with the promo code, the lowest price on the standard pillow. But why stop at a standard? Get yourself a big one. You can almost use the king pillow as a body pillow. If you're short,
right?
Like Skip could use the king pillow as a body pillow. It's about his size. So go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Mojo50 and get something to put between your legs. A pillow. You know, like a body. I should stop.
Mojo.
Quit while you're ahead. See, Stinky Biscuit said, who is this mostly person?
Mojo.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Squatching duck, you hold a pillow between your legs and it's hard to get pregnant, especially for a dude. Want to bet? See, Toby on the Twitters there, who says, so the IRS will be encouraging me to practice money laundering just like the big kids do. Fun. Exactly. They force people. It's like with the vaccine mandate. They're forcing people to lie. That's because when they start doing stuff that isn't right, and they being the government, they force you to lie. They force people to turn into liars.
Right.
Well, they don't have to lie. Yeah, you do if you want to get around the totalitarian horse shit that they keep shoveling out. And to Squatching Duck's point, and thank you, Brandy, for sending this story from Yahoo News. Headline, as a trans man, not to be confused with a Dodge Trans Van, which were big in the 70s. Do you remember those? They were like a recreational.
Vaguely,
yes.
yeah, vaguely.
Friends had one, and we also used a Trans Van at KGIL Radio in LA to as our mobile broadcast vehicle. So this is a trans man, not a trans van. Much different. Headline, as a trans man, I felt safe being pregnant during the pandemic. I want my story normalized for others to feel the same way. And then there is a topless photo of Bennett Casper Williams. I believe that is, it's hard to say because so I've got my choice of Bennett Casper Williams or Malik Casper Williams. They became first-time parents in 2020. So okay. I don't know what this person's name is, but he is standing there topless, pregnant, which... You know, it's weird because growing up, I was always taught that, you know, a woman was mother pregnant. And now men are, so he doesn't have boobs. Well, he does, but they've been altered and taken away, whatever. And so he's standing and I'll just, Bennett, whatever. I'll just, again, bring up the irony, the paradox that, why is it that a woman who has become a trans man, it's okay now for them to be seen without a shirt on?
Didn't we see, what's Chastity Bono's name now? Chaz.
Chaz.
And we saw Chaz shirtless once, didn't we?
And Ellen, or whatever.
Oh,
Ellen
yeah,
Page's
that's
name.
right, Ellen Page.
So why is that it's okay once
Elliot.
Yeah. Elliot. I'll be right here. Why is it that once the fatty tissue is removed from said breasts, it's okay to see them uncovered?
I don't know, dude. I've never understood it.
Is that not a level of stupid?
Then again, there are some people who cannot control themselves when they see ta-ta-tas.
The older you get, the easier it gets. You see them one, you see them all.
That's a negative right there.
I keep telling myself that, and I continue to want to see more. I don't know what it is.
That is a negative.
It's weird, isn't it? It's this is an adapted excerpt from Not Another Parenthood Guide, which is a limited edition book from Coterie's Becoming Parents campaign, with 100% of the sales going to Baby Quest, which is an artificial insemination place. So before I transitioned at 30, I had significant amount of adult experience as outwardly female. I was super genderqueer, but an outwardly female identifying person. Yet, as a not yet self-realized trans person, I never connected to womanhood or motherhood or stories of that sort of thing because they felt attached. They always felt attached to a gender I didn't identify with. As I went through my gender evolution in terms of how I understood myself, I started thinking more and more about my body and what it does, less in terms of gender, more in terms of function. Women, this person is actually making the case that women get pregnant. Men cannot. It's kind of the whole. It's the ovaries, uterus, breasts thing. It's kind of it's like a package deal. Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
I agree.
You know, the body. I don't know. It sounds too crazy, I guess, these days. One thing my body can do is carry a baby. That's because you are a genetic woman. And then I started thinking about all these cisgender men who are with other cisgender men. Gonna need a chart for this. Cisgender men. That'd be like, are we cisgender?
Yes.
Okay, so with our cisgender men who can't carry children, that's because they're men. See, I think that's where the confusion is right here. And then they say how lucky that makes me. I think about all the trans women who were assigned male at birth, who can't carry children, and how lucky that makes me. It starts to sound, it's the twisted logic of that, who was and I don't know what they were, the Zim Zed Zur, and remember her, them,
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
yesterday. It's they get the logic gets so convoluted to try to get to what they're trying to say, they end up proving the point that it makes no sense to begin with. I can experience both my transness and be part of having a child in this way. I realized, this is actually really kind of radical and very cool. That a woman could, when you really dig down, and it's the normalization that I think bothers most people. It's the normalization, because this is an outlying, it is not a normal thing to become transgender. Of course, we do a lot of things that aren't normal either. But when you try to normalize something that is not normal, that's where you run into a problem.
Yep.
I mean, it's logic, which is why I think the majority of us have an issue with what the hell is she trying to say?
Happily promoting the 4Fs.
It's not normal. By definition, it's not normal. If it was normal, a majority of people would be doing it.
We added a bunch of stuff to the website yesterday.
Which one?
Romika.
Wow. Squatching ducks begging to be muted again. That's easy. Look. Muted. That was simple. We don't have to worry about him now. Where is...
Without my Patriot Supply.
In my backpack, besides the 4-week emergency food supply kit that's back at home from preparewithmojo50.com, I've got an emergency blanket, my one-size-fits-all poncho, my snake bite kit, and my Alexa Pure Survivor spring straw. Crikey, there's the wild hair now.
Crikey.
And Debbie, it is, again, by definition, if it was normal, the majority of people would be doing it.
Correct.
And it's okay to not be normal. I'm not normal. God knows that.
The Daily Mojo.
Debbie over in the Facebook chat room says, I do not accept it as being normal, Brad. Because, again, it is not normal. If it was normal, a majority of people will be doing it. And
their argument is, who defines normal?
Normal, by definition, is something that the majority of people do. Normal,
Okay.
It's the norm.
But the key word there is majority. I mean...
Right, and the majority of people aren't doing it. Therefore, it is not normal. Which again, I don't, being normal is kind of boring. I'm not suggesting that being normal is a great thing. God knows Ron's not normal.
I'm Abby normal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what fun would a show called Normal Realities be? Right? But Abnormal Realities, which
Correct.
is airing tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time. That would be
Correct.
8 o'clock East. 8 o'clock,
Yes.
Did I say East? Did I say Central or Eastern? Because in that over the weekend, it
7
would have been,
Central, 8 Eastern.
which would have
You're
been
welcome.
9 o'clock now.
Oh,
because
stop,
of the time
stop.
change.
Blah,
which
blah, blah, blah,
actually
blah, blah.
which
You're going to
would have been
freaking screw everybody
8
up.
o'clock here, but 9 on the East Coast. So when does it air?
7 p.m. Central.
7 Central. And tonight, the topic?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Good.
We don't know the topics unless we have a guest coming on until about an hour before.
Well,
and then sometimes we don't even know the topics, Brad.
Doesn't show.
We just thanks.
I did hook them up with somebody this morning who.
Oh yes, you did. Thank you very much.
And when you hear the stories that this person can tell when they are a guest on the program, you will be amazed. Don't forget at mojo50.com, you can now get your Let's Go Brandon shirt if you have the guts to wear it. I was talking to somebody the other day, saying, I don't know if I could wear, even a Let's Go Brandon shirt in public or a hashtag FJB. And I said, look, with this, if somebody comes out, I think that's rude, FJB. And I said, what, the Flying Justice Brothers, you don't like their music? And then wait, what? See, you can make them look stupid. You can make them look stupid at the same time. I'm telling you, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But we have the Let's Go Brandon shirt, which is probably racist now. It's available at mojo50.com. If you click on shop, you can buy one of your very own. Speaking of racist, the term woke, according to this guy over at Slate, what is this writer's name? Joel Anderson. Over the weekend on Twitter, he says that non-black people who use the term woke are guilty of using a racial slur. Hey, Sonny, that sounds awful racist to me.
What, if you use the term woke, it's
Yes.
a racist slur?
If you're not black and you start using woke.
If you're not black,
Right.
you use woke.
Because, again, you can't be racist if you're black, according to these idiots. They say using the term woke pejoratively sometime post 2018 or 2019, they say it's fair to consider it a racial slur. This guy is a douche canoe. Is that racist?
Yeah. Well, yeah, who cares?
I don't care. It doesn't mean I'm going to do anything to you, he says, or that anyone else will, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I won't either. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do anything to you or that anyone else will, but it doesn't mean that I won't either. It sounds like a veiled threat. He then posted a picture of white men carrying tiki torches, and the photo caption was, "All these hit dogs."
Yeah.
Is that?
So, number one, you have to give a shit that somebody says you're racist, and I don't. And number two, I'm not racist. And number three, I can use whatever the hell words I feel like in my damn.
Wow, are we taking back the language?
We need to take it back.
We
need to take it back. I had this conversation with my 15-year-old yesterday or day before.
You sound so butch.
I said, I want rainbows back. Thank you very much.
Right.
And the word gay. I want it back.
It's so gay. Because remember, if you don't like ABBA, you're gay. I mean, let's be honest. Admiral Jamie Chump Jillhole, we can always do like Clinton and say, I did not have intercourse with that woman. I did not have sexual relations. He did redefine sex. Got to thank him for that. Honey, it's not, it's just
a
what's it
BJ,
say?
honey. It's not sex.
It's not sex.
Didn't mean anything.
No. So thank you for that, Mr. Clinton. Robin P. says, I can get a queen. Does she read to me in the library? Possibly.
Thank you.
Possibly. Dr. Mojo Martian, I'm actually not a fan of My Pillow pillows. They squish down overnight and are noisy. Everything else is great, though. They squish down overnight?
And they're noisy.
They're
Dude, we may need you to come on to our show. It's called Abnormal Realities.
They're noisy? I'm trying to figure out how foam makes a noise. You know what? He's probably one of those people. Well, because I have no idea. Because how do you tell the sex of a Martian? Right? Is probably one of those people who hates it when they hear the sound of a napkin tearing.
Or a cotton ball being
Or a
pulled
cotton
apart.
ball being pulled apart.
Yeah.
One of those, one of those freaks.
I've got a family member who cannot do that. If you're yanking cotton balls apart near them, they will hear it.
Hey, careful now. I think this bell needs oiling or lubricating or something.
No, mine's good.
The sound that gets me is on Star Trek, the warp engines. Ooh, that ramping up noise.
Yeah.
It freaks. I don't know why. It's a nervous.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nervous system thing, I guess. It's just.
If you listen to those shows, of course, that hum is going on in the background all the time.
Yeah, but no, this is the ramping up of it.
Right.
It's which is different. But so we've now discovered that Dr. Mojo Martian is a freak, but that's okay. That's all right. Maybe I think you're right. They should come on to Abnormal Realities and discuss this problem that they have. All right, has Squatching Duck been in timeout long enough?
I don't know. I didn't time him out on my side.
Now, for those of you normal regular listeners, normal regular listeners to the program, you know that there's a family of people out there who are, members of the program. They're out there, and I use gay and retard all the time. Oh, sorry, squirrel.
Yeah, you read that out loud.
Yes, I did. And sometimes, like any members of a family, some of them turn into pains in the ass, and they have to be sent to timeout because sometimes they make rule violations, and rule violations must be punished.
Man.
So it's the whole rule number 1: don't be a dick.
Can you just stop poking the bear this morning?
And rule number 5: just because you can doesn't mean you should. So all right, we'll just see if he learns a little lesson there. Because I can just as easily make it permanent. Remember, this is the fun part. I'm in charge. Beaver 73. Here's the rest of that. I use gay and retard and all those non-PC words. F you and F your feelings. I'm not responsible for your brain and where it goes when I say a word. You are. Exactly. And we're all about, again, tomorrow.
And that's the way it used to be before cancel culture.
Right.
You're welcome.
And this is us pushing back.
Jeez.
So remember, tomorrow is the day that we statistically have more new listeners than any other day. So everybody, all members of the family are expected to at least be welcoming and presentable. In other words,
wear pants,
right? And don't be a dick. At least on Wednesday. At least until we have the new listeners, basically addicted to the program, and then you can do whatever you want because then we have them hooked, and they can't do anything in return. A sad note.
The beam, sorry. There you go. Put it there. Now hit it smooth, but hit it hard. We want to make a couple of balls on the break.
That, of course, the voice of Dean Stockwell. He was Al Calavici on Quantum Leap.
Oh, no, okay.
And Dean Stockwell died. 85 years old. And I just looked him up not too long ago because I was wondering what happened, where he was these days. It's kind of like looking up, who was the guy who was in Gene Hackman?
Yeah.
Have you seen him lately? Oh.
Does he look like death warmed
You
over?
don't. It's like seeing Sean Connery before he died.
Yeah.
Just.
And all of these people, of course, you have this memory of them.
Yes.
But then when you see them, recently, in a photo, it's like, wow, did they get old?
Yeah. People do that with me, except when they see the old photos of me, they go, damn, he got fat.
Stockwell hadn't been anything since 2015. He played 2014 NCIS.
He was great on Quantum Leap. That was a show.
He was. Battlestar Galactica he was in.
I don't know why Quantum Leap didn't catch on. It was a great show, and it was a great concept. And Scott Bakula, who is not as tall as you'd think he was, I met him and by met him I mean I went up and fanboyed him in a little bakery in New York, across from what theater was that? Anyway, just off Broadway, and he was standing there at the counter. So I, walked up and
Who, Bakula?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walked up and he came up maybe to my chin. And
Really?
I'm like, damn, dude, you're not real tall. And so, but he does have a mean right hook. No, I just actually walked up and said, big fan of your work, and you want to cuddle. And, the next day we were great friends. So Dean Stockwell, it is sad to see him go, but at 85, you have to know there are more days behind you than there are in front of you. Again, this is the mainstream media for you. So MSNBC put out a tweet yesterday. Did you want? Let's see. Do you want to know? Hold on a second. This requires some
mood music.
It really does, because this is truly. Here's the tweet that MSNBC tweeted yesterday. Headline: Why the inflation we're seeing now is a good thing. Wait, what? Inflation's good? Oh, why didn't somebody tell me sooner? I enjoy paying, what is it, $73. It cost me $73 to fill up the Mojo wagon yesterday, and a gallon of milk.
Dude.
Yeah, I know. So it was September that a Kroger executive warned that grocery stores and grocery prices were about to get nasty. The companies, he said, would be passing along higher costs to the customer where it makes sense to do so. Tell me where it doesn't make sense to do so. Why wouldn't I mean, if a company is buying something for X, they have to sell it for X plus Y, unless they're going to do a loss leader, in which case they're going to lose some money or not make as much. Nestle CFO Francois Xavier Rogers said blistering inflation would likely continue into next year, telling a crowd at a Barclays Consumer Staples Conference, if we talk of 2022, it's likely that input cost inflation will be higher next year than this year. Yay! But, of course, MSNBC said, wow, this is good. I mean, the inflation that we see is good. What the hell? Okay, so here's the rationale behind MSNBC and their stupidity. They're saying that because people spent less and saved more during the pandemic, they now have more disposable income, and the stock market went cray-cray. This is their rationale. Even though millions of Americans lost their jobs, enhanced unemployment benefits and stimulus payments left many of them better off, not worse. And the stock market, after initially failing, boomed. This is MSNBC is telling you that if you lost your job, you're now better off because of enhanced unemployment benefits and stimulus payments. The $450,000 that you got. No, wait.
No.
That goes to the illegal aliens coming across the border, or some figure. We are, as the president said, still not sure exactly what it is going to be. But you deserve something. If you came across if you robbed the bank illegally, and while you had your child there, you lost your child, you deserve compensation. How much is your child worth? Why did you bring them to the bank? Right, that's not important right now. The fact is, you deserve money. So, the $450,000 goes to them. You, as an American citizen, out there struggling, trying to make ends meet. What was it, $2,000?
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The 600 and then the 1400. Cheap bastard wouldn't even cough up the full two. So you're better off because of the benefits that the government paid you. And by government, I mean the money that they took from us initially and then gave us back and told us how wonderful they were by giving us back the money we'd already given them. Huh. Morgan Stanley explained so simply, even MSNBC columnists could understand the bottom 80% of the population retained just a third of the $2 trillion in so-called excess savings. The bottom 80% of the population retained just a third of the $2 trillion in excess savings. And without jobs, most have already burned their way through whatever money they had saved up. Thank you. In other words, the bulk of the government handouts ended up in the hands of the ultra-rich. Remember wasn't it, I want to say Kanye West, it may not have been, but it was one, some fairly well-to-do. And again, if the government is giving out benefits, is it fair to say, well, you down here, you get X, but you up here, you also get X?
Yeah, and people have different opinions, of course, on it, because I have a family member who will soak the government for everything that they can get from them rather than go get a damn job. Okay, now I've said it. However, there are others who will say, look, I might need this for a little bit, but I'm not going to stay living on it. Hell, I had to do it once.
Yeah, and if you, yes, I'm in full agreement. If you have, you paid your paid taxes over the years,
use the resources that are available to you.
Yep.
But don't just sit on your butt.
Right. And quite frankly, the problem now is the money that the government has isn't taxes. It's not tax money. It's money they've printed up. They have long ago blown through any money that we paid in taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is just this is part of the $1.2 trillion.
Which is why they're constantly looking for more ways to tax you.
It's phony money for that matter. That's the bottom line, is that MSNBC is out there. And again, part of the Democratic propaganda machine. They're trying to, and there's some people who would, and these would be the dumber people amongst us, would go out there and then quote that and say, well, inflation's a good thing. And this is the meme that someone put together. It's a clown putting on their makeup. The first panel is there won't be inflation, and this was the media narrative. There won't be inflation, then there is no inflation. Then remember, inflation is transitory. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's transitory inflation. And then when that doesn't appear to be true, now inflation is good. Inflation is good. You just didn't know how good you have it. I'm telling you, it's a freaking clown world out there. Unless you own Bitcoin. And I'll tell you what it's doing right now, but you probably already know. First, however, it is important that you do know that coffee may reduce stress. Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, think about it.
Again, I'm drinking it. So
I was going to say, let's think if you did not have your coffee and you were jonesing for your cup of American Pride Roasters coffee and you couldn't find any.
Would I be stressed? Yes.
There you go. And would they, by putting a cup of coffee in your hand, would you feel less stressed?
Yes.
Ta-da. I prove my point. This was an experiment on mice. It found that caffeine does indeed help one stay cool in stressful situations and has pinpointed the neurochemical pathways involved in the process. The researchers suggested that the study may one day lead to medical therapies for stress-related illnesses in humans. But more importantly, American Pride Roasters coffee tastes good. Because it doesn't do much good if it's the old adage that, medicine has to taste bad to be good. Remember that? They used to tell you, the worse it tastes, the better it is for you.
Yeah, but a spoonful of sugar
makes the medicine go down.
Yeah.
I'd like you to meet medicine. American Pride Roasters is historically great coffee. You will find them on the interwide, World Wide Web.
DM says coffee is actually causing me stress right now.
I have, yeah,
Well, you're one of the few, DM, but we understand why. So.
yeah, the manufacturing process of coffee right now, and let me just tell you, prices are going to have to go up necessarily because raw materials are going up. But remember, inflation is good.
Yeah.
That's just listen to MSNBC when you have to pay more for everything, and just remember, inflation is good. So get yours today. Stock up while you can, while the prices are still as low as possible, and you still get a fabulous product. And don't forget the Frederick Douglass and the Defender's Light, both back in stock at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Now, if you have any Bitcoin, you will be happy to know that it has now hit $67,000.
Wow.
67 grand. Let me see what it is at this very moment. As we sit here, Bitcoin is $67,850. Remember, it's what I call and damn, Ethereum is at 4,804. 1 year ago, let me see if I can do this right. 1 year ago, that would be right here. Wow. 1 year. If you bought Bitcoin 1 year ago, you would have paid, Ethereum. It was $439.36.
Wow.
It is now $4,842. That is a rise of 982%. Damn, baby. So Bitcoin's at $67,000. It's the I hate government currency because people don't. But I don't understand why people don't trust the government with money. I mean, I just don't get it. Show me the evidence that the people
Look, the U.S. government right now has people in a room trying to figure out how they can tax Bitcoin.
How they can suck it right out of you.
Yep.
And take your Bitcoin too. This is why crypto was created, because people don't trust government and the people in charge, mainly because the people in charge, the majority of them are douche canoes. There's just no other way around it. See the $67,000. That apparently was the last wall that it gets to a certain point, and then you see it struggling to get over, and it kind of falls back, and the people are going, oh, it's not.
But then when it reaches it, it just blows right through it.
Blows through it. I think it's going to go. You're welcome. I mean, thank you. Before the end of the year, I'd say 75, and I've been pretty close so far, haven't I? Just for complete.
Yeah.
I've been bullshitting the whole time.
75 before the end of the year.
75 before the end of the year. Because last year at this time, again, Bitcoin was, this is just insane. Bitcoin was, talk amongst yourselves. Wow. 1 year ago, Bitcoin was $15,090. It is now 68. Whoa, it went up. No, excuse me. It's 67,860. That is a rise of 342%. Damn, baby. Keep on going. And they say the bulls are saying it's going to hit 75 to 100. I say at least 75 before the end of the year. Wouldn't that be nice, Ron? I mean,
that'd be nice, yeah.
Owning as much Bitcoin as we do, you and I. Don't you have 10 or 15 of them?
Yeah, you'd be able to buy a pretty nice house for a couple of Bitcoin.
Right. Who was the dude? Remember the guy that bought pizza with a Bitcoin? He paid.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And now, if the person who he bought the pizza from kept the Bitcoin.
Kept it, yeah.
Damn. Jack Hole Training NCO, stay out of my crypto, but get in and make a buck before the rubes and government F it up. Isn't that the truth? Because they will. I mean, I didn't know if you knew this or not, but the government doesn't do anything well, and most of the things it does, it F's up completely. Timmy, the retired pilot, look for good in the world, and you will find it, hence this story. Family of 13 lives in tent for 3 months before Utah realtor buys them a home. A huge blessing. there is some good out there. And it does get lost in the again, why you wouldn't listen to a show called Normal Realities. You know, but there is some good. There is some good going on out there, and you're right, it should be acknowledged. See, Richmond Joe says, if I go back to the back room and start printing up fresh $100 bills, that's called counterfeiting. Since that's the case, then how can Joe Biden going down to his basement and printing trillions of dollars not be considered counterfeiting? Because he is a protected douche canoe. Yeah. There's just no way around it. Which this is 30 seconds of unedited Biden babble.
The operation and the gouging that occurs in some of the pricing of beef and chicken and other things is that that's why I think that's why I indicated to you we're going to look at whether or not there's a violation of antitrust laws and what they're doing. So there's a lot to look at, but the bottom line is that I think that and anyone who would prefer, as bad as things are in terms of prices hurting families now, trade this Thanksgiving for last Thanksgiving.
The hell did he just say?
He used a lot of words. Here is another, when was this November 4th? Not that long ago.
Jen Epstein, Wall Street Journal. Excuse me. I beg your pardon.
Bloomberg.
I hope
He has a freaking cheat sheet.
But he's got to be able to see it first, Brad.
He's got it right in front of him.
I know.
It's on his hand.
But he can't see it.
I got it.
Thank you.
Especially since my granddaughter works for you guys in a different circumstance. So
Hello.
Wait, what?
I got it. I'm in trouble.
What? His granddaughter works for
Bloomberg?
Wow. Learn something new every day. Wonder if he showered with her, too.
First of all, the significant reason why prices are up is because of COVID affecting the supply chain.
Ta-da! If you would just get vaccinated, it would end this whole disruption. They really did say that.
I know you, I'm not trying to be instructive. I know you know this. Number one. Number two, if you take a look at, gas prices and you take a look at oil prices, that is a consequence of, thus far, the refusal of Russia or the OPEC nations to pump more oil.
I would like to just say that U.S. Americans, and the Iraq, he sounded just like her. He is the president of the United States. God help us all. God, my.
Dude, I cut 150 pair of earrings yesterday.
And by cutting, you mean you push the button and it went boom.
Yeah.
You have a frickin' laser beam. Was it fun?
Yeah, because we're always finding something new to cut, and so it's always cool learning, to cut it and then see it come to fruition, and then after that, I hand it off.
Here you go.
I'm in charge of the cutting and the engraving. I hand it off after that.
Who does the shrink wrapping? Because that's cool.
We all do. It depends on what we, when we're shipping something out. If it's got little pieces and parts, a lot of times if we sell a sign that's got a stand attached to it, I'll shrink wrap it together.
You don't trust women to do the shrink wrapping when it has more than one part? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said we all do it.
No, you just said if it has more than one part, if it has a stand, I'll shrink wrap it. It's like I don't trust the women to shrink wrap.
Okay, we
the
will
stuff.
shrink wrap it.
Well, I'm sorry. Which was it? When you telling the truth first
for the
or
love
second?
Of Pete.
Uh-huh. Who is Pete and why do you love him?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure he deserves your love. Well, but strangely,
my daughter's helping me bust out about 3 TikToks a day now.
It's no fair. You have people who know this hip stuff.
Dude, and she's all over it. She's pretty good at it.
That's because she hasn't been corrupted by the world.
Yeah.
Conference. The spokesman tells SFGate that the governor worked at the state capitol last weekend, will be back in the public eye sometime this week. 6 more subpoenas issued to associates of former President Trump. The subpoenas from the Democrat majority congressional committee been investigating the U.S. Capitol riot. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are down 74 points. NASDAQ futures 17 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Your pets have this. Supply chain disruptions, shortages, panic buying. Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2021. The good news is you have Mojo50.com. Not only will you find emergency food supplies, also water filtration, air filtration, all sorts of other tools. Prepare with Mojo50.com. If you want to keep food on the table, if you just want to maintain some sense of normalcy, Prepare with Mojo50.com is the answer.
This is an
Wow.
important reminder. Don't miss this week's exciting shows with Erskine right here. We've got some very special guests and revealing topics this weekend. So make a note, mark your calendar, text yourself. Join me here for Erskine this weekend. You'll hate yourself Monday if you miss us.
Thinking of like the new Ralph Lauren loin girder.
Can you imagine the commercial for it though? Moses is wearing it. What are you?
Defenders Live, weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, Mojo 50.
News headlines in a Liberty Minute for Tuesday, day 604 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. The White House said it has not ruled out a COVID vaccine mandate on domestic travel. Great, yet another clearly unconstitutional idea that President Biden is entertaining. 11 Democrat senators penned a letter to the president asking for extreme steps to combat the soaring gas prices. Nothing extreme is needed. Just remove all of the onerous regulations that you have imposed and allow the U.S. energy companies do their jobs. The White House also said it will be up to the DOJ.
All right, people.
Illegal immigrants
Hands
separated
up.
from their families at the border will be awarded.
Rondell,
Biden said
attach
that they
the frozen
deserve
laser beam
compensation. No,
to your
Mr.
head
President,
and then
they
just
deserve
tell me about your day.
deportation and a bill for the expenses that they have caused
That's a
U.S.
good idea.
taxpayers. The Biden
Right.
administration is urging companies to
Right.
keep COVID vaccine mandates, even though the OSHA rule was stayed by a federal
You never notice that your wonky eye stays open more than your regular one?
All the time.
There's no getting them back.
If we weren't so bad,
To puppy rape. Do I want to keep my penis?
Cat wants some black titties. We wouldn't be so good. Mojo 50. The mothership has landed.
I see Robin P. on the Twitter says, I'm running for president in 2024 because alphabet hard hormones, ingenious cliffs, babies, and all of that. Frighteningly, Robin made more sense than the president. Speaking of tyranny, this out of Scotland, a club called Lulu. It's a nightclub in Edinburgh, Scotland, has begun marketing itself to the unvaccinated, the unclean folks. They are advertising the fact that door staff will not be carrying out checks on whether customers have been jabbed, according to the Telegraph, by placing seats on the dance floor. Chairs.
What?
They put chairs on the dance floor. The venue is asserting that it no longer qualifies as a nightclub and should be under the same rules as pubs, which aren't mandated to ask for vaccine passports. See? That is good old American ingenuity in Scotland. You don't need a vaccine passport to party with us, the venue announced, adding that normal service had been resumed. Only venues that provide a space for dancing by customers count as nightclubs under the rules, thereby creating a loophole which is easily exploited. Hospitality industry representatives said clubs across Scotland were exploiting the loophole so they could ignore vaccine passport rules. The vaccine passports guidance is so shambolic that places which are clearly not nightclubs are being billed as nightclubs, and places that are clearly nightclubs are managing to use the loopholes to claim that they are in fact not. Do you know what else was happening in Scotland?
I do not.
Oh, yes, you do. The COP26, the climate thing.
Oh, that was in
Right.
Scotland?
And do you know who wasn't there?
No.
a governor of California, which brings us to our newest segment.
Well, she sneaks around the world from Kiev to Carolina. She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. She'll take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me where in the world is
Gavin Newsom. All right, so we didn't have.
Was that Carmen Sandiego?
We
That
didn't
was
have.
pretty cool.
We didn't have all the money to get the whole jingle done.
So we had to improvise.
So we improvised a little bit, but I think it gets the point across.
He did show up yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah.
Where?
Let's see. Gavin Newsom showed up. Let's see. Was it on Fox News? I saw it this morning. They said, he did make an appearance. Let's see if I can.
Did he? Information was leaked out over the weekend that the governor had reportedly developed symptoms of Bell's palsy immediately after getting injected with Moderna's COVID-19 booster.
That would make sense.
And that
yeah.
he's had trouble speaking coherently, more so than usual, more so than the president. They've sought another source to corroborate before reporting, unable to get that confirmation until two more reports had surfaced yesterday. Did he come out of his hole last night?
It was yesterday he appeared doing something. I'm looking for it now.
You sure?
Liberal governor cancels climate summit trip only to rub elbows with rich oil heiress. This was let's see. Newsom disappears for more than a week. Reportedly pops up at oil heiress's wedding yesterday. Officiated over by Nancy Pelosi.
So did he show up or not?
Yes.
Really?
What? That's what it says.
So you saw the images of him there?
Governor Gavin Newsom, who has recently receded from public view to deal with unspecific family obligations, attended an oil heiress's wedding in San Francisco on Saturday.
And there are pictures.
That was officiated. Yes, pictures.
Of him sitting there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He has not made a public appearance for 11 days.
He's got a mask on.
You think it's him?
Mm-hmm.
They say it's could be side effects. And Psaki, Newsom is scheduled to make his first public appearance today. Actually, he's only resurfaced to attend the wedding of billionaire heiress Ivy Getty over the weekend.
What?
I don't. Were you? Because I was there and I.
You didn't see him?
I didn't see him. He has again. He started canceling the events due to family obligations late October. Unusual hiatus led to a frenzy of criticism against Newsom, who survived an attempt to recall him from office in September. After days of intense backlash, which led to Newsom's wife telling critics on Twitter to stop hating and get a life. Well, that's rich. The governor's office finally announced he was due to attend the California Economic Summit on Tuesday. It will mark his first public appearance since October 27th. So it's interesting.
I wonder if the same thing happened to Psaki. If after she got the booster, something struck her down.
One never knows. Here's the problem is that if something does happen, there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Nope.
This was back in December of 2020 on CNBC. You cannot sue Pfizer or Moderna if you have severe COVID-19 COVID vaccine side effects. And the government likely won't compensate you for damages either.
And here, stick this in your body.
Thank you. You can't get any reparations for that either. And I'll tell you what the rest, because this is, I don't know how many people understand that you have like between zero and no recourse routes. You got there's nowhere to go. If you get effed by the vaccine, there's nowhere to go. You got nothing. And that's a problem. You can, however, go to Romika Designs and get your fill of things that were cut with a freaking laser. How many sets of earrings did you
150 sets yesterday.
Wow.
We've got a little bit more. We posted some stuff on Facebook and added several new products to the website yesterday.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Your little laser beam keeps you
Did
busy.
you see what I did to the front page?
Let's take a look at the front page of Romika Designs. I'm not sure it's going to look as good as the Mojo 50 website, but let's see. Let's see here. You've got the big Romika Designs, and
No,
you've got
refresh.
I've got a refresh.
Refresh.
You're asking for that's a little roundy thingy with the arrow on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! You put up Christmas decoration.
All Christmassy.
I hate you. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. It's barely
It's
past
all
October.
Christmassy.
Good grief! So Christmas has come early.
Yep. Well, it's on its way, so we needed to get a good jump start on it.
So you've got the Christmas reindeer countdown decor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going all bougie? Decor.
Well,
decor.
Yeah,
Is it a decor or is it a thing?
That's
it's a
that's
stuff. It's some
yeah,
stuff.
That,
decor.
you're
starting.
That's the category it's in. Christmas decor.
You're letting the woman pick this stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Jeez. Best teacher ever.
You see that bathroom word search? Hey, you can't go wrong with that.
Hang on a second.
It's on the far right side of your screen. You're zoomed in.
Oh, so you put this across from the toilet?
Yeah.
And
if you don't have your phone, my comment is there. If you happen to go in there without your phone, this is the new toy.
Brilliant. So it hangs across. If you are listening to the podcast at the moment, it is a word search sign. You hang in the bathroom, and it's the. Now you don't recommend people circle these things with like pencil because that's what somebody's going to do.
I thought about putting like some acrylic over the top of it, and putting a dry erase. But once you do it, it's.
Well, you could do that when you get it. When you buy it, you could buy just a little piece of acrylic, and put it over that, or even Saran wrap for that matter.
True.
Because why not? But you do word search there in the back. That is brilliant. That really is smart. You didn't come up with this idea.
My favorite thing that we put up yesterday are the Santa boot print stencils. I'm not even joking. I just think that's pretty cool. If I was a kid and that happened, scroll back to the left, and that happened for us, that would have been fun.
First thing I thought I was you spray them on like walking right up to the bed.
No, you lay the stencil down and you sprinkle flour.
That's
walking right up to the bed. Yeah, that's okay. I'm with you.
I cracked myself up. So it's all at romikadesigns.com. Ron and his freaking little laser beam, and you'll get some. These are really great ideas.
Thank you. We have a ton of new gift ideas that we're going to be putting up on the website over the next week or two.
So tell Misty I said great ideas.
So if you look at the website one day, please come back and look at it the next. There's likely to be some new stuff.
Right, exactly. And when you're done there, make sure you go to Mojo 50 and make a little donation for the. We'll send you one of these. Let's see, right there.
It's right there. Yeah.
The Mojo 50 Christmas
2021 Christmas ornament.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got you covered.
Looks
either
like
way.
a snow globe.
It does. All right. So you cannot sue Pfizer or Moderna if you have any vaccine side effects. This was there's a government program, however, and I love this. The government program that they suggest that you rely upon is the there's two of them actually. One is the CICP and the VICP, and you do a little research on this yourself, and you will find out how completely effed this whole thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are two different programs, and there's the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. And this is the vaccine. The VICP applies only to certain vaccines. Not all vaccines are covered by them. In most cases, the vaccines you're likely to have received are covered. In particular, the VICP covers all recommended vaccines for children and adults. The list includes hepatitis A and B, meningitis, that other one, measles.
Did you say meningina?
I did meningitis. It was. So, which is ironically the name of our new stage play that we'll be putting on at the Performing Arts Center next year. Again, there are two of these that are out there, and one of them, the one that is covered, the one that covers the COVID-19 vaccine, they've paid out, I think, 6% of claims that have ever been put out there, that have ever been filed.
Yep.
So, and this is from a lawyer's website, an attorney's website. This is pretty amazing. COVID-19 vaccine injury compensation programs. Did you have a severe reaction to COVID-19 vaccine? There are 2 programs in the United States to help with vaccine reactions, but only one of them currently accepts COVID-19 claims. It's called the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. The Vaccine Injury Compensation Program covers vaccines like flu, MMR, DTaP, HPV, and more. The VICP does not cover the COVID-19 vaccine.
Interestingly enough,
the VICP has transparency. There is a court. There are independent judges. You have a right to present evidence of your injury, and you have the ability to appeal your case all the way up to the Supreme Court. It has awarded billions of dollars to vaccine injured patients. That is the VICP. However, the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program is the CICP, and you can remember it by C. I told you they'd screw you. The CICP is currently the only way to get compensation for a COVID-19 vaccine injury. However, only about 8% of the people who applied to the CICP with vaccine injuries in the past, like the whole past, have ever gotten payouts. 8%. The CICP lacks the protections of the U.S. legal system. There is no transparency. There is no court. There is no judge. There is no right to appeal.
Yet they want you to jab this freaking needle into your body.
Decisions about compensation are made in a black hole by a nameless administrator. Now, here is the most important part of, and this is on, you'll find this on a bunch of attorneys' websites. This is the note at the end of all this. Important. Our law firm has concluded that there is nothing our attorneys can do to help you in filing a claim in the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. This doesn't mean you should or should not file a claim in the CICP, simply that we do not believe there is a role for effective legal representation in the CICP administrative process. In other words, they won't take your case. Because
they're hamstrung. They can't do anything.
How many times have you ever seen an attorney say, nope, sorry, we can't take your case?
Yeah, very rarely.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's what, when they mandate, when the government is telling you, and which they are, trying to do through the whole OSHA thing, well, they're not making you do it. Basically, you're just going to, lose your job if you don't do it. They've created an environment in which it is important for businesses to require you to have the vaccine, because otherwise they can fine the business. What was the first offense was like $7,000, and then it was something stupid like $14,000 for
14.
This.
Yep.
And then
and it can go higher.
Yeah, to like $130,000. So they're targeting the business to force the business to force you to get the vaccine.
And look, if you're a business with over 100 employees, your hands will be tied.
Yeah.
Your employees can pitch a fit all they want. And that's the sad part about this, Brad, is I see TikToks, I see news reports of employees honestly taking it out on their employer. Now, this hasn't taken place yet, but it's going to in January.
You think it will? It's in litigation right now.
I don't know. I mean, it's on hold at the moment, yes, but
it may or may not go through.
Now, there are employers out there, and I think you and I know someone who may work for one of them, who just decided, we're just going to do it anyways. And these are the employers who've made the mandates, mandatory. That's a mandate, but but they've done it without the federal government forcing their hand, right? It's the ones where the government forces their hands that their hands will be tied. They can't do anything else. lest they be freaking able to pay those.
They'll go bankrupt.
Fines.
They'll
They'll go
bankrupt. They'll bankrupt the companies.
And here's where the scary part is. This is not the ones with 100 employees or more. It's the mom and pops out there that are going to end up getting forced if it continues to go down that path.
Yeah.
The 2 and 3 employee people.
It is insane. If you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. That's fine. It is insane for the federal government to do what they're doing, which is a workaround to the Constitution.
Yep.
That's all it is. And which by definition is unconstitutional.
Well, you're going to have a great majority. I say a great majority. You're going to have a certain membership of society in the U.S. who are just going to flat out say, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Come poke me and let's see how that works.
Right.
Come on, bring your shit and let's see how it goes out and how it goes for you.
But what do you do if the company fires you? I mean, if you're in there.
Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. Their hands are tied. They're going to have to lay you off or they're going to take fines, period. There's nothing you can do. And that's the sad part. That, again, is going to be one of those get people right to the edge of the cliff and give them a little extra nudge, and it's going to be fight or flight.
Have you watched Dope Sick on Hulu?
I have not.
It is Michael Keaton and what's her name? Lopez, not Jennifer Lopez. Anyway, Michael Keaton, and it's the story of Purdue Pharma and OxyContin. And it's the story of the way this drug company manufactured and marketed this drug as first they said it was non-addictive. Like less than 1% of people who use OxyContin would become addicted to it, which we later learned obviously was a blatant lie.
Yeah,
it was based on some study that, again, if all of the information in it is accurate, I think it is. I've seen a documentary on Purdue, but again, don't believe anything I say. Look it up for yourself. They based their claims, their findings on a study that was defective at best. I mean, kind of the way, you've seen some of the studies and some of the trials for the vaccine, are flawed. And they ended up getting the FDA to approve the labeling on OxyContin in a way that essentially said, if you won't get addicted to this stuff if you use as directed. The problem is, even if you used as directed, you got addicted to the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship between the manufacturer, Purdue Pharma, and the FDA and the National Institute of Health, it's so incestuous. The official at the FDA who was involved in approving their labeling ended up going to work for Purdue Pharma. And this has happened on several occasions. Look up the number of FDA officials who end up going to work for Big Pharma afterward. So there's this relationship that they have where drug companies are getting things approved that might not necessarily be approved if they didn't have the inside relationship. And there's a fine balance between capitalism and these companies lying to you. Actually, there's not a fine line between that because it's just wrong if they tell you that something is safe when it's not. And see, I hesitate because I don't trust the government to tell me when something is safe or isn't safe. Lawn darts, for instance. Okay, you're a dumbass if you're out there throwing lawn darts with a 2-year-old running around in front of you. By the same token, you're also a dumbass if you're throwing horseshoes with a 2-year-old. You could just as easily injure or kill a 2-year-old with a horseshoe as you could with a lawn dart.
Yep.
And yet, lawn darts were made illegal because, the government. So it makes no sense to have this body, this agency of the federal government who is obviously influenced by money from these companies that want things approved. And in some cases, they just want the competition out of the way. you can't trust them. You can't trust the FDA. You can't. And the two officials that resigned from the FDA after the remember the booster. Well, that thing didn't stay in the news very long, did it? I wonder why. The whole booster controversy was that the FDA didn't want the boosters made available, but the NIH did, and ta-da! Well, look what happened. So who the hell do you trust? I have no idea. In the government, I don't think you trust anybody at this point. That's the problem. They've proven untrustworthy. And then, by the same token, they've also made it impossible for people to get any restitution or any relief from damage done to their body by the drug that they are being forced to take. It is, I mean, it's a human experiment is all it is at this point. If you're being forced to take it, if you want to take it, great. But isn't it strange that they will find a way to force you to take the vaccine, but you can't snort Coke. But I like to snort Coke. No, sorry, you can't. It's bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Same people. No, can't smoke pot, bad for you. Can't snort Coke, bad for you. But you must take the vaccine because we think it's good for you. Okay. There's just so many contradictions in the thing. And again, if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. That's not the issue here. The issue is the government telling you what you can and cannot put in your body. And right now they're having it both ways. And that's a huge problem. You know that with Delta 8,
that's the THC.
There's no THC in, I don't think. Is there? That's where the
no. The alternative.
Right. Yes, the THC. Yeah. In Texas, they tried to make it illegal for a while. It was banned for a little bit. Now it's,
they
no longer being banned. But it's fascinating, and when you find out who's behind these, these efforts to block or allow certain drugs on the market, you kind of get your answer. Sometimes it is the competition, as in alcohol. Weird, right? Coming up, do we have Dan?
Not yet, but we're supposed to, yeah.
Well, we'll see if Dan is back from his hiatus. Haven't seen him in a while either. Wonder what the problem is there.
A free exchange of ideas.
Clear.
Yep. The government can use OSHA to make you do this. They can make you do anything.
Supply chain disruptions.
This whole thing with Project Veritas.
Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2021.
I've got Dan.
Dan, we were worried about you. Yeah, you haven't been seen in public along with Gavin Newsom and Jen Psaki.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Okay,
the three of us.
Must be a great party.
Just chilling,
right? About 45 seconds, and we'll be into it up to our eyeballs. Stand by.
All right.
Roasters coffee. Historically, great coffee.
AmericanPrideRoasters.com. The Daily Mojo.
Don't forget, you can find links to everything in one place by going to my link tree. Where is my link tree, you ask? Just Google it. Just Google Linktree, Real Brad Staggs. You'll find it. I don't know why they made the URL on these Linktrees so weird. Do you know, Ron?
Yeah.
Have any idea? I mean, why?
No, I don't know why they did.
It's like linktr.ee/ and then the username. But if you just Google it, you'll find it. And there are links not only to the Mojo 50 Christmas ornament, which is yours for a $25 donation, is our gift to you for donating to the cause here, or the hashtag FJB shirt. And I still
we've sent out 24 ornaments so far, and we've got another 16 to 20 still to go. So if you haven't received yours yet, please bear with us.
Thank you for all you've given. Imagine what we could accomplish if you'd squeeze a little more out of that little lemon you call a wallet. No, seriously, thank you for doing that. On the line right now, back from we haven't seen Dan Andros in public now for 14 days. So we'd like an explanation. Did you have an adverse reaction to a sundae or a Diet Coke or something?
Nah, I was just quarantining from society. That's all.
I would like to do that. Can I, please? I would just...
Sometimes you just need to...
Me time.
Get away from them all. No, actually, we were just doing election coverage last week, so I had a
crazy
bit of a time
election,
preparing
right?
for that.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And obviously, guys, look, the big takeaway from this election is that progressives just weren't progressive enough. Now, if they just would have been, according to AOC, if they just would have been even more progressive and more woke, then it would have gone great for them.
You know,
I mean, that's reading the room if I've ever seen it.
Here's the problem right now with AOC. I'm having a love-hate relationship with her at the moment because she did vote against the infrastructure bill.
Well, you know why she voted against it, right? She wanted like $800 trillion because she thinks money just falls from the sky like manna from heaven.
And yet she voted against it, as did Rashida Tlaib and the other members of the squad. And at the same time, we had the asshats known as Republicans, the 13 of them, including Adam Kinzinger, who has, just decided he's not going to run again. So now he can do whatever he wants because he's lame duck. We had all of them cross over to the dark side. So
I don't understand this. Which, by the way, it's hilarious that every article I read, the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I mean, what were there? 12 Republicans.
13.
I mean, nobody calls it the bipartisan Iraq War.
Right. No. Yeah,
because
exactly.
there were, like 4 Democrats on it. Like the bipartisan Iraq War from George W. Bush. It was just so bipartisan. Everybody loved it. It's ridiculous framing, first of all. But the other thing on the infrastructure bill, I don't understand. I don't understand how people fall for this, why it's quote unquote popular with polling or whatever the case may be.
It's because of the sheep.
But what do people think? Oh my gosh, we've forgotten about the infrastructure.
Right.
Everything's falling apart.
Right.
Do you not drive to the store? Do you not get outside the house?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's like where people live, but the things aren't falling apart. Like, yeah, there might be a pothole here and there, but
there are some bridges in some towns that have. What was that bridge last year? It just fell. But there are some, their bridges need updating. I would say. I would think in some parts of the country. The problem is how many decades have these clowns in Washington had to fix it? How many decades? How much of our money have they had?
Isn't most of the true, but isn't most of these bridges? I mean, not the federal responsibility. Isn't this like a local state issue where they have to deal with their own roads? Like, yes, there are some obviously interstates,
right,
and there are some areas, but I would think most of these little bridges that are crumbling are not under federal jurisdiction. Anyway, it just, of course, there are things that are going to need to be replaced. I mean, that just goes without saying. But they act like everyone's forgotten about anything that needs to be repaired. Right. No one's thought of it. It's just, guys, we need to pass this $8 gajillion or else we're all going to forget about the bridges again. It's just, I don't know. It seems like a stretch.
They always want money is always always the answer is just throw more money at it. And to your while you were speaking, I was checking out gas taxes, because aren't gas taxes supposed to go for repairs and things on the road? I mean,
tolls?
Isn't that what the idea behind? The federal gasoline tax is supposed to be used to build, repair, and replace roads and bridges. Though in 2019, about 1/5 of the revenue went to help public transit. Weird, right?
Yeah, totally weird. I want to know what the toll money goes to, which, by the way, I think I know, because right near where I live here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, they did repair a bridge. And it's so weird. They didn't need Joe Biden's bill to do it.
Right.
But they redid this bridge, but then they put one of these, Easy Pass toll things above it. And then they made this giant building. And I don't know what it's for. I don't know if it's for the 3 employees that have to sit at the computer and watch the Easy Pass numbers come in. I don't know what they do, but there's a humongous building there with this beautiful walkway that goes over, and around this overpass area. And, I'm just looking at this building going, my gosh, what is this? Do we have people that need to sit by the bridge all day? Like, what is the deal? I don't know what it is, but they've got that, though.
That was the same feeling when we were in D.C. and we walked by the Department of Labor. Was it the Department of Labor or Department of Labor Statistics? It may have just been and walking by the Department of Labor, you're like, why do they need this huge building? Just ornate and marble, and just obviously cost a lot of money, when I don't remember the Department of Labor being actually mentioned in the Constitution. The founding fathers weren't really concerned with a Department of Labor or any of the other departments for that matter, but they find ways to take money that we've sent them and spend it on whatever the hell they want to spend it on.
Yeah,
and then
all these departments.
Yeah, they waste
it.
Yeah,
they get so ridiculous. The Department of Education. And could you imagine, honestly, being just you go to work at one of these massive departments that honestly, there's absolutely no bearing on anything you do. Nothing you do actually matters, right? Like, what is the Department of Labor doing that is just so critical to America's success day in and day out, right?
We have to have
We have to have them. Imagine you got to have them. You're some mid-level person working there, showing up every day.
I need my
doing their
Department of
TPS
Labor
report.
fix, man. Just give me a taste of it. I just need a taste of the Department of Labor. That's all I need. I'm jonesing for it. No one says that ever, or any of the other departments.
Do you want a high-paced, action-packed career in the Department of Labor?
Right.
Imagine your days filled with collating and lunch breaks and whatever else they do.
The whole thing is insane.
Maybe they do some cool stuff there. I don't really know what they do.
Let me think about that for a second. No, they don't. They do, just like any of the other departments, they pretty much cost us money, and I can't think. I mean, someone somewhere will say, well, here's one benefit you get from the Department of Labor. But I have no idea what that would be, quite frankly. Other than I'm sure they're creating a lot of paperwork, and they suck up a lot of our taxes. But other than that, pretty much useless.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's see, this is what happens when we don't talk for a couple of weeks. There's so many things to talk about. The pastor in the church who tackled the gunman.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the middle of this prayer, and one of the people there just gets up and starts waving a gun around. And and this pastor whose name is I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but it's Pastor Ezekiel. We'll just go with that. Right. I don't know how to say his last name, but in Nashville. And then this guy, this 26-year-old, just gets up, waves his gun around, and he kind of waits for an opportune moment and goes and tackles him down. So incredible moment there, and act of bravery by this pastor.
It's truly amazing to see this, and he didn't have any time to stop and think about it. He just had to leap into action. Well, and obviously this dude that was waving the gun around, obviously not quite all there.
No.
He just, or maybe he was all there and was just a real jerk. But when the guy just lunges at him.
Yeah, this kid's name is Baganda, his last name. He's 26 years old. He just stands up and starts whipping that gun around. Holy cow.
And then the pastor makes a move. He kind of goes to the back door to pretend like he's walking out, and then the gunman then turns around and looks back at the congregation, and then he doubles back and tackles him from the back. Nice tackle.
Yeah, it was a good tackle. It was enough for everybody else to jump on this kid.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what's sad, guys? This is when I saw the story, and this is a sign you're reading too much news. But sometimes when I'm at church or just an event or a gathering, when you're settling in, I'll sit there and I'll look at the doors and I'll pull a Jason Bourne and I'll just kind of go, all right, well, if somebody comes in there, I guess we could, you
start
kind of
scoping out the
you start scoping out the scenarios.
That's smart.
In case some idiot gunman comes in.
No, it's smart.
I started doing that after that idiot walked into the theater. You remember that guy?
In Colorado?
Yeah.
I started doing that too. When I'd go sit down in the theater, I'd be looking at the exit doors going, all right, I could jump over this, chair, row
Now,
here.
But when you go to a restaurant or any other place for that matter, do you face the door when you sit down, or do you have your back to the door?
Most of the time, I will not put my back to the door.
Right. That's just being smart. That's all that is, because you never know when some idiot is going to come in and start doing bad things.
Yeah.
Or, do what I do, and our director of global security is a retired SEAL, so I just go everywhere with him, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, because he automatically walks into a room and starts
and I can
scanning.
And I can just be completely carefree.
Right.
And then when I see him leap into action, I hide behind a table. It's
right.
fairly
If something goes down, all you have to do is hide, and you know that they're going to do it.
Exactly. I mean, why do yourself what you can have other people do for you?
Right.
That's my motto.
This is the point, Trey. We were talking about this yesterday on our podcast, and Trey brought up the fact that, I asked him, well, would you guys do it? Would you jump in? And Trey was like, well, I would like to think I would. He's like, but I'm a small man. He's like, I'm 5 foot.
That's
8,
me too.
I'm 150 pounds, and so I just don't know that it would do any good.
I'd like to think I would do some heroic stuff, and I probably would if my immediate family was there.
Right.
But I just don't know. I mean,
no, that's just it. You don't know.
That's a spur of the moment decision,
Yeah, but you got to weigh I think sometimes you just have to weigh. It's like you've got to weigh the situation and see, like, well, is this going to work or not? Like, you don't want to just act if it's just going to be a total fail. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember a few years back, I forget where it was, but some guy, a big guy, he's like a 6'8" or 9", just a kind of a Paul Bunyan type guy, walked into a school board meeting, and he was mad, and he pointed the gun at one of the school board guys, actually shot and missed. The guy called it a miracle. That he's like, you saw it. The guy was about 5 feet from me, and he missed. So, God spared me there.
Right.
And they tackle the guy, they get him. But before the guy went in, now remember, this guy's like 6'8", he's huge. It's like a big mountain of a man. The only person who had a good line, he walks in, pulls his gun. The person right behind him is like this sweet 75-year-old old lady. And she's sitting there, and she's like, realizes, okay, I'm right behind him. He doesn't see me. I got to do something. He's sitting there with his gun. And so she tries to, I can't remember exactly how she did it. Like, she took her purse or something. She tried to knock the gun out of the guy's hand. Valiant effort, but it just didn't work. And she just fell down, and he just looked at her like, what was that?
Right.
It was like a fly tried to hit him, And so then and thankfully he just, he was more going out. He could have just killed her easily, but he didn't want to, thankfully. But it was just, that's how I think in our minds, we think we're going to be these big heroes. And then in reality, sometimes I think, okay, most of us, it would probably be like this old lady. We just get swatted to the floor, or we're just dead, like, good try, but now you're dead.
It's what happens, whatever happens when the fight or flight instinct kicks in. And, at least
that's a good point.
At least she did something. I mean, God
did
bless
something.
her.
She tried.
Yeah,
she tried.
She did. And
tried. But you've got to like weigh your situation. Like say you're in in a bad spot, right? You're in the right in the line of fire, and the guy's got an AR-15, and you have nothing, and like they're pointing it. Like, well, do you just run at him? Well, no, he's going to mow you down, right? You got to like wait for a better time. So, you got to calculate the scenarios.
It
So.
is, it's
But this is good. Hopefully the result of this conversation is now everyone is paranoid walking around just evaluating every situation like they're Jason Bourne.
No,
about
everybody's
to be
hypersensitive now.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts.
You never
in a
know.
minute,
You never know when they're going to make the move.
See, donuts will kill you, Ron. You go for a donut, and you never know what's going to happen next. It's by the way, the 4 and 3 podcast is available. Is that daily?
Monday through Friday, yes.
It's and I knew that. I just was making sure Ron knew. And you can get that, obviously, the 4 and 3 podcast, wherever podcasts are sold, bartered, traded, or otherwise exchanged. And Starbucks is, their new cups are out. Are they controversial this year, or are they stuck to like Christmassy stuff? Do you know?
That is a good question. I'm looking at it now because Trey wrote this article, and I actually didn't look at this one.
Wow.
But it looks like
Ron, isn't Dan in charge over at FaithWire, Ron? I mean, did we?
You can't. You can't cover every single thing that goes up. I mean,
is he passing the buck now, Ron? I think that's what he's doing.
Well, it says this story I found says Starbucks new holiday cups revealed prompt mockery of alleged quote war on Christmas because the cups are minus the festive Christmas trees or Santa icons.
No, yeah, it's all just red and green. I'm scrolling through the video now. They're pretty lame.
Yeah, but
I never go to Starbucks. I never go to that heathen of a place anyway. So
yeah, not a fan.
I have not been to a Starbucks in 2 years at least, and I don't miss it.
I mean, who wants to pay like $8 for a cup of coffee? I don't get it.
Right. Now, apparently, it's a pretty decent place to work now that they're paying, in some cases, $23 an hour to make coffee. I don't think that will ever, affect the price of your cup of coffee.
No.
I'm sure they'll just absorb that cost. But I've found myself not really missing Starbucks when I don't go there. It's kind of weird, kind of strange.
Yeah. No, there's a great little for those of you who are Starbucks haters, you'll enjoy that in my town. There's a local place run by one of the families from our church, and poor Starbucks is about 2 doors down, and nobody cares about the Starbucks there. They all go to the other place. So
see, nice,
it's great.
All right, are you another story that's been in the news lately? Chris Pratt.
Yes, that's what I want. One of the ones I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, Chris Pratt, man, he was catching it, and it was the reason
the dumbest thing ever, right? I mean,
yes, completely. Go ahead and explain.
Yeah. So his wife's birthday's coming up, and he's married to one of the Schwarzenegger's kids.
We like to call her old. What's her name?
What's her name?
Yeah.
But his second wife, he was previously married to Anna Faris. But so anyway, he writes this sweet little pre-birthday post, like praising her, saying she's great and she's given me an amazing life, a gorgeous, healthy daughter. And then he makes some jokes, she chews so loudly that sometimes I put my earbuds on to drown it out, but that's love. Joking, a sweet little post. And people, I don't understand this underlying simmering hatred for Chris Pratt. I mean, I think I understand it. I mean, he's a Christian and he's outspoken about it. So it's in Hollywood, so it's inevitable. But they start laying into him over this post and saying that it's sexist and he just treats her like his treasure. And because he says in there, my greatest treasure is her. And you can't even say that now without them literally complaining about it. Saying that, this is just stereotypical. I mean, he just views her as a prize, blah, blah, blah. And then the other one, which was really insane and quite honestly evil in that, because he said, hey, we have a gorgeous, healthy daughter.
Right.
They tried to say that he was taking a dig at his ex-wife, Anna Faris, and his other son, because his son has some health issues, and
they're evil.
They're trying to say that he's taking a subtle dig at his own son. I mean, it's so infuriating. And then he actually responded to this and say, you know, when he saw the reaction, it just made him depressed and sad, and that he did eventually just go running with his Christian music on, and that lifted him up. But it's just sad that people are that pathetic. I mean, to think that this guy, if this guy was like a class A, jerk,
right,
then maybe you could understand like these assumptions. But every account of this guy, nobody's perfect, but every account is that this guy is a nice guy, loves people and his family, et cetera, et cetera. To assume that he's taking a dig at his young son and his health, it's just beyond comprehension. And I think the whole world, especially on Twitter, is mentally
a lot
ill.
of it, Dan, is because people that dig at him like that aren't comfortable in their own worlds right now.
Yeah.
They've got something going on in their life, so they're not comfortable until they bring somebody else down to their level or below it.
Well, and the other reason is because they're douche canoes. And I'll just go ahead and say it, because that's what they are. When they do, I mean, it's ridiculous when they. That's so. I mean,
it's
honestly,
easy to
like,
sit behind a keyboard,
Twitter,
dude.
Yes,
Twitter and Instagram. It allows people, especially with egg accounts who don't even have a name, it allows them to say whatever they want without any filter. And the nice thing about the days before, in my day, back before we had the internet, we saw people in person. Like, you wouldn't say this stuff.
No.
Because most of the stuff they say, you get punched in the face.
Exactly.
Yes. Or you would just be, shunned for being an absolute idiot. Because, it just, all the filters are down when you're on the internet, especially when you have an egg account, and which is why I don't know why anyone puts any value in Twitter says, and people on Twitter are mad. Like, who cares? Who cares?
By the way,
just ignore it.
His wife, Catherine, responded to his criticism of her chewing and saying, "Wow, it's only when I'm eating cereal, but I love you."
Like, heaven forbid this couple just has a little fun, right? And they're just.
Yeah, I mean, he's being nice to her. And it's, I mean, the bottom line, like when he said, look, she looks at me like this, and, in return, I occasionally open a bottle of pickles for her, or I reach high things, or I lift heavy stuff. I mean, these people are just amazing. And you're right here. This is the problem, though. I don't blame social media. I blame the people. Again, blaming social media is like blaming the table saw.
Right, exactly.
It shows people.
Symptom. It's a symptom of people's hearts. 100%.
It's like sports doesn't build character; it reveals it. Same thing. Social media doesn't cause people to be bad. It just reveals who they really are, which can be a quite useful tool if you need it. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad that you weren't out there hanging out with Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom, because it probably would have been bad for your reputation. I mean, just saying. But you can find Dan, ironically, on Twitter at Dan Andros, and over at faithwire.com, and the 4 and 3 podcast, which again is available just about everywhere. So be well out there, and as I like to say, get them before they get you.
All right, gang.
Talk
See you,
later.
Dan.
See ya.
Meanwhile, in Washington, this is pretty stunning, and I'll tell you what it is right after I remind you that right now at preparewithmojo50.com, you can get $100 off your 3-month emergency food kit. That's enough food to get you through the crazy times that are most certainly headed our way. Go to preparewithmojo50.com. So there is a staffing crisis within the Washington State Patrol after the mandate firings and overall morale of the profession in general. Chief John Batiste reassigned their psychologist of 27 years. This is in the state of Washington, their state patrol. Reassigned the psychologist of 27 years for allegedly not passing enough minorities through psych evaluations. Daniel Clark, the Washington State Patrol staff psychologist, was reassigned from his
Not
position.
that they didn't need to be passed through it, but that because he didn't pass
Right.
them.
Right, exactly. Because he's
It's
going
the answer to why the world is like it is today, Brad.
It's why Pete Buttigieg is transportation secretary. That's
Wow.
it's not offensive if it's true. Reassigned from his position to screen new recruits after the Seattle Times published data which showed that non-whites are failing more psych tests than whites. So the minorities were failing the psych evaluations. The whites were passing the psych evals. So instead of figuring out what the problem was, now this is not to say that I'm excluding any shenanigans. If this Daniel Clark guy was fudging results, that's a different story. But because the non-whites are failing more psych tests than whites, he's been reassigned. Welcome to 2021.
What do you mean it's let's go?
Yep, I told you you'd never get the time back. That is it. That is all 2 hours of your daily mojo and how, we're going to retitle the program, I think, Up With People.
Up with people.
Up with people. Because remember them? Remember them? Up with people. So remember, this is, what is it, Tuesday already? November 9th, 2021. Did the lesson stick? Let's see if Squatchy Duck learned that I'm still in charge. Let's see here. Timmy, the retired pilot. Things that make you go, Wow, it's a picture of a woman trying to blow out the candles with a mask on. All righty then. And then there are a lot of tatas. Admiral Jamie Chump, Jill Hole, pedophilia and trans anything has become normal due to indoctrination, but biology does not lie. Satan has a plan, but God's will win. God's plan will win. Biden is not my president. Oblivion Flickering. How dare you say that women can't open pickle jars? Cancel. Wow. Why don't we just... Never mind. Some people just have to blow out someone else's candle, make theirs look brighter, which makes them a-holes instead. And Squatching Duck, still my favorite Christmas coffee cup, which is warmest greetings, McCafe. Hey, was Nick Cersei says, you can kiss my ass and bark at the hole. I believe that is a fairly accurate quote. And Wade Robertson says, commie bucks taste like scorched buttholes anyway. Stop it. Coming up next across most of these Mojo 50 radio stations, you will indeed find the encore presentation of Normal Realities. Today, it's a housewife who goes shopping.
It's Abnormal Realities.
Sorry.
And we replayed Scott Wolter's show last night. That was a fantastic interview.
Scott. His last CD was amazing. I mean, that third song, it was incredible. Your Daily Mojo, remember, is made possible by the guy over there with the fingers, Real Ron Phillips, spinning the dials radio style and looking for more stories of abnormal people in 2021. By the way, tomorrow we're going to discuss some interesting things about the Mineral Wells Haunted Hill House.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing. Remember, the smallest minority on earth is the individual. Those who deny individual rights cannot claim to be defenders of minorities. 6 Separate Tyrannus. Resist stupid and good night, Doc Thompson.
Wherever you are.
And rumor has it that'll be a shirt soon. Doc comes next.
Clear.
The scariest thing I found out, as I'm telling you, and I didn't get to it today, but I will tomorrow because you're going to want to know.
Yeah.
You're going to want to know. What is today? Oh, it's Tuesday. Hang on a second. I have to push that. I have to go over here and do this. How come I'm doing all this?
I don't know.
Why is it me that has to do this stuff? Instead, we're the interns. Why is it always me?
Good morning.
Oh, there it is. I have to push this, and then I slide this, and I push that. I mean that.
Good morning, Mojo 50. I'm Leprechaun, and here with the bell count for the Daily Mojo, Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. Today, there were no missed innuendo bells that I caught. and 12 actual bells.
His was
Peace out,
sticky.
boys. Stay healthy, and I'll talk to y'all mañana.
Did you notice his was sticky too?
Sticky, yeah.
It was sticky. It was
His
sticky.
bell?
Yeah, it was very
Yeah,
sticky.
My bell's not sticky.
Mine's sticky. Mine, like, sometimes it
It
does.
may be. It may just be that little piece of metal on the inside. The
Now-
ball, where the ball's hanging.
Isn't that a clanger? Isn't that called a clanger?
Yeah.
Right.
Brasserie.
Brasserie.
Well, that's simple. We've seen a bunch of them today because it's Tatas Tuesday. I mean, that's dumb.
I feel like that's not the same thing.
Brasserie.
Put your
Brasserie.
on because they're, it's just rude to go out in public without
brass
them.
ball at the top of a walking stick.
Brasserie.
Wow, that's pretty not accurate. It's a noun. It's an unpretentious restaurant, tavern, or the like that serves drinks, especially beer, and simple or hearty food.
Brasserie.
Which I would have thought would have been the polar opposite of that.
Like a pub.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you call it a brasserie?
Brasserie.
It must be-
Because you don't live in this country.
It
I
must
don't
be
know.
French.
Yeah.
The what I tell you, French,
Yep. There you go.
and the
We're
French.
gonna go on down to the brasserie.
Yeah, where it's the French.
That is a wrap.
Are we done yet?
Yep. Bye.